Sean, no turnover bucket today. Was that because it was a walkthrough, or why didn't they?
Oh, they dunked one in there. You didn't see?
No, I didn't.
Oh, you missed it. You missed it. He didn't bring it out on the field, but he dunked one in the back.
Yeah, Tayshaun just tossed one
Yeah.
to Justin's feet. So.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not that's not my expertise of decorating the turnover bucket. Whatever the guys want to use, they'll be able to use.
With the regular season closing, how are you feeling about the way your vision is gelling with what the guys are coming together doing right now?
I'm happy with where we're at. I think there's still plenty of areas for improvement from a coaching perspective and a player perspective, but we're still in the middle of training camp right now. We still got whatever 10 or 15 practices left of training camp, so I'm happy with where we're at to be in the middle of it right now.
Based on what the guys tell us, you've gotten buy-in from across the board. What do you think the key was to getting that level of buy-in and trust in you?
To me, it's about relationships, and you try to be authentic with how you talk to these guys and approach them, and then you got to stick to your word. As a leader, I got to stick to my word, and hopefully they feel that, and I think they're starting to feel that, and they know that when it's business time, and when there's certain expectations and standards, and everybody's going to be held to those same standards, and I think they appreciate that, and I think we got to, the job is to continue to keep growing it. We're not there yet.
So do you think the emphasis on takeaways has translated to practice so far?
I think so. I mean, that's for you guys to judge. I'm just happy that the guys are at least conscious and aware of it. That they're trying to go attack the ball. They're understanding when they can go attack the ball because you can't get one on every play. They're just not going to throw into you at every play. But when you're making a tackle, you can try to be aware of it. But at certain costs, right? You can't miss tackles. You can't do that stuff. So you got to do the basics first, and then when you have an opportunity, you try targeting on the ball as much as you can.
I know you obviously emphasizing takeaways with everyone, but have you worked on anything specifically with him after he made a lot of plays last year but didn't get any interceptions going forward into this year?
Yeah, me personally, no. I mean, just instead of besides challenging him, but I think Desai, Coach Desai has, and Pops and Ronell are in that room, and they've all kind of emphasized it, and I've emphasized it with him, and quite honestly, he's taken that role, and he's accepted that challenge, and he's worked on it, and you see the fruits of that. When guys make it a conscious effort to do and improve a certain technique of their game, they're going to get better at it, and that's what he's doing.
What can you do as a coordinator to get more out of Eddie Jackson than as a safeties coach?
I just think out of Eddie and really everybody, everybody wants to be a high producer, and that's good. You want guys on that defense that want to be high producers, and so with Eddie in particular, the same thing. Just be real thoughtful of where he is on the field. Be real thoughtful about how people are trying to attack us on defense, and try to get him in some spots that he can use his skills to the best of his ability. That helps our defense.
But to what extent did you kind of have a plan for him? 'Cause obviously he's a key guy, and he wasn't as productive last year as he was previously. Without giving details, but what did you have a plan? What kind of plan did you have?
Yeah, we've got plans for everybody, and he's one of them. And the production part for last year, I know he's not content with it, but quite honestly, he got a couple pick sixes taken away also by a penalty. So, when you just look at the stats for anybody after the fact, you forget the reality of what the tape said. And so he was not getting targeted as much, and so we got some ideas for him to be a little bit more active towards the ball, and I know he wants to be more active towards the ball, and some of those things, they just have to come to everybody too, and he'll have plenty of opportunities, and we'll be very conscious on how we use him and put him in spots that he can go attack the ball.
Sean, guys like Mel Ogletree and Artie Burns, older guys who turn around a little bit, did they state their cases to make this move?
I missed the beginning of that.
What have you seen from Artie Burns and Alec Ogletree as they state their cases, being veteran guys to make this team at this point in their careers?
Yeah, I think like everybody else, both those guys being veteran guys, they bought in, and they're really focusing on the techniques that we need to improve on, that they need to improve on, and they're doing it. They've both been really diligent at it, and accepting the coaching from Coach McGovern and Desai again in the DB room. They're accepting that coaching and understanding that we need certain things, certain levels of their play need to improve, and they've both responded really well to that.
Sean, we see the intensity from you each day in practice. How's that evolved from when you came in, young in the building, to where your role is now?
Yeah, I think it's ever evolving, and when you're in different roles, sometimes you gotta kind of fit into how your role is within the organization, and you got to do that. That's part of being in those roles. And then when you get to some different roles, you kind of adapt and keep adjusting that way. And so right now, the energy level is a little bit different because I'm responsible for all the coaches and the players on the field. Not just one guy or one position group or no guys. When you're a QC, you're responsible for the scout team. So in whatever role you got to be able to bring the energy that the people that you're working with can respond to. So I'm responsible for more people.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sean. And people who've talked about Robert Quinn, coaches, teammates, talk about how he's hard enough on himself. He's kind of his own critic. And when you coach a player like that, what is the coaching strategy to bring the best out of him? Is it to not join him in criticizing him? Is it to point out what you see and then go positive? How do you treat him differently? Because Matt said today you treat everybody the same and different at the same time.
That's right, and I think Coach is right about that. I think one thing I would contend with the question is, coaching is not criticism. So we're not here to be critical of anybody. We're here to teach them and develop them, and everybody can get taught and developed. And Robert is a great example because he's as humble as they come. And he knows where he feels like he needs to get better, and he knows where we feel like he needs to get better. And Coach Shuey's doing a great job of doing that, and we're on the same page. He's on the same page as Coach Shuey and myself and all those guys. So this is not about criticism. If you're in coaching to criticize, I think you're in the wrong profession. You need to be in coaching to teach.
Sean, you're going to have at least 5 starters that are 30 or older. Has it been your experience that they should still be able to play at their peaks at that age? And then as a follow-up, how is that going to affect your rotations, watching their snap count?
Yeah, I think, when you talk about the age thing, my experience has been very varied and diverse in this league with that. And it's really up to the individual player and how they prepare their bodies and their minds for the game. And each player is very different in what they need to do to get ready for a game in a longer season. And our guys are more veteran guys, have responded really well, and they all understand that. And so our strategies, the expectation is still the expectation for whatever role and whatever age. We're not changing expectations because somebody's younger or older.
So you won't be watching their snap counts because of their age?
Well, that, I think you manage that for everybody on an individual basis, regardless of age. It's based on performance and how they're playing in the game. So I think age is one factor only, but it's not the only or the deciding factor.
Sean, when we were talking to Robert Quinn yesterday, he was talking about how he feels like he's in a better mental headspace than he was last year. I was just wondering, what have you seen from him in that regard?
He's just been extremely humble, really grateful, taking advantage of all the opportunities, taking in all the coaching, and you see him. For a guy that's a veteran guy that's aging, his effort is unbelievable every day. His play speed is unbelievable every day. He just goes at one speed, and that's what you want all your players to be. And he's a great model because he's got some stripes on the wall to be able to do that, to bring that effort every day when he's able to go.
Sean, how's the dynamic with Mike Pettit evolved since he got in with you? And do you have any examples of ways where he's kind of tweaked something with his scheme or brought something to you that helped you out at some point?
Yeah, no examples, just because we're not sharing those. But Mike's been great. He's been a great resource, just like all the other assistants have. He's bought into the role and the assignments that every coach we have on our defensive staff knows exactly what the expectation is from their roles, and he's bought into that and embraced it, and he's been a tremendous resource for myself and really the rest of the staff. And you see him out there. He's helping at whatever position that, we give him that day, and he's, up there drawing cards with all of us. He's doing everything that an assistant coach would be doing. So it's been great to have him.
Ron, you've been here the entire time Akeem's been here. I'm curious, as you've learned him, what you've learned about the best way to push his buttons to get the best out of Akeem.
Yeah, Akeem, again, I think most guys respond to authentic conversations. Most guys respond to knowing that you got their back, and most guys respond to high standards, and Akeem is the epitome of that. He's got a high standard for himself in terms of the level of play that he wants, and he has that high standard for his coaching. He wants to be coached at a hard and high level, and Coach Rumpf is doing a great job with that. And I'm there to assist in any way I can, but he wants people to be real with him, and we are that. He knows that from me because I've got a longer relationship with him than most others on the staff, and I think he's been really a pleasure this whole offseason, or this whole in-season.
How much in the early stages of your transition to this role was just learning the personalities of all the guys that you're going to have to work with?
I think that's been ongoing. I've been here, this is my 9th year, so that's part of my process. From when I was a QC, it was in different roles, to the safeties coach. I was always trying to engage and learn and observe, and now you get a chance to enact the things that you've kind of believed in. And so that's been ongoing, and obviously I continue to do it. It doesn't stop. It's an everyday process. I'm still learning about these guys, and they're still learning about me.
Sean, with regard to Quinn, do you feel like you've unlocked whatever it was that's holding him back? He mentioned he's in a better mental state, maybe that's a key factor, but do you feel like with what you're doing and with where he's at, that you've unlocked whatever it was that was holding him back last year, or is that just a huge X factor coming in?
I'm not sure if it's been unlocked. I think we're all working towards the goals that he wants to achieve and that we want to achieve as a defense together, and we're all on the same page. And Coach Shuey's been tremendous with him and working with him to develop the plan that we want for him to respond to. And Robert's been awesome in terms of responding and embracing that challenge for this year.
When Roquan was out, in what ways did he stay engaged during practice? And I imagine the meetings were the same as always.
You said,
Roquan?
yeah.
When he was out, how did he stay engaged?
Oh, how?
Yeah.
How? Well, the good ones find a way. And he finds a way, he finds a way. He wants a script. He wants to know the calls on every play, and he's challenging himself to see the game from a different perspective, which is a hard thing to do. When you're on the sideline, it can get kind of dull sometimes. But he's engaged. He's seen the blocking schemes. He's seen where the pass routes and pickups need to be picked up. So he's seen the game at a bigger level, and that's a credit to him because he's a sponge. He just wants more information, more technique, more detail, and Coach McGovern's been giving it to him, and we've been giving it to him, and he's responded really well.
It seemed like Eddie was kind of doing the same thing early in camp when he was out. Like he almost looked like he was another coach out
That's
there
right.
with you. How did that help him? Because it seemed like once he got back out there on the field, he was like full go.
That's right, and I think that that's been a philosophy that Coach Nagy and we're trying to get through with all these guys that if they're out or for whatever reason, if they're not practicing, that they're continually locked in during practice. And you saw it with Eddie, you see it with Roquan, you see it with all the guys, Danny Trevathan, all these guys that have maybe not been able to practice every day, they're engaged, and they are. We're challenging them to coach on the field. I mean, that's their job, right? Is to help develop the other guys, and then what that does in turn is it keeps their mind sharp. So when they get back on the practice field, they're as sharp because they know what the standard is. There's nobody that's slowing down for anybody or waiting on anybody here. We keep pushing forward towards achieving our standard, and that's what it is.
Coach, you had an interaction yesterday with Thomas Graham. You were coaching him up about how he finished a particular play. He wanted to give you his reasoning for why he did it. You weren't having any of it, right? But then you also noticed that it kind of was still with him as we were heading to the next play. And you went, hey, next play, next play, next play. How do you kind of balance that with coaching guys up, but making sure, hey, that's over, let's go to the next thing?
Storming in here. How do we balance that? Well, that's part of coaching and playing. That's part of coaching is they got to be able to accept the feedback in a moment. And when you're on game day, there's literally moments that you got to be able to adjust and accept that feedback. And the way you can do that is you built a relationship with your coach and your peers, your players. You built the trust level so you know what that person's telling you. And you can trust that what that person's telling you is in the best interest for you and for the team, quite frankly, at the moment. And then you got to accept it, and then the next play's coming up here in a quick second. And so you need to be able to process and get back to your basics, your fundamentals, your techniques, your assignments, and be ready to play the next play. And we talk about that all the time, is just snapping clear. Once the play's over, however good or however bad it was, it really doesn't matter because the next play is the most important one.
What's been your evaluation of Thomas Graham so far?
I'm sorry?
Thomas Graham, what's been your evaluation of him so far?
Oh, he's a rookie. He's doing good. He's doing good. He's trying to compete out there. He's trying to make some plays on the ball, and he knows the spots that we need him to continue to develop at, just like all rookies. It's a fast transition into this league.
Sean, I know.
So, he's developing.
I'm sorry. I know Peters is the other side of the ball, but I'm curious, what kind of impact do you think might come to your guys from a likely Hall of Famer who I think is older than you? That's,
yeah, I mean, God, was he 19 years now, 18 years in the league? We're going to wait and see, but everything I've heard about him has been awesome in terms of the person that he brings to the locker room, and obviously to have another veteran presence like that around is just a resource for everybody. You know, for myself included. I mean, he's been through a lot of games in this league and won a lot of games in this league and had a lot of defeats in this league. So we can all learn from his experiences, and I think that's valuable.
Thanks, Sean.
See you guys.